Okay, so idea cross-pollination was this stuff. So this is the first thing we looked at. I'm not going to go into the process of this, but this was a poster that I did for the soap factory. And the ideas that went into it that were sort of mashed up were tracking tracking the hand of an artist and an image-based concept. So my diagram sometimes, because I'm not really interested in iconic images, that doesn't interest me. So I take those same diagrams, but I put more abstract things into them, or I put specific strategies. So my diagram might say tracking, which was about the idea of showing the hand of the artist, and image only, type only, so that if I have to think about okay, well, if it was only an image, how would I do that? And that ended up with this concept, which was, that's essentially a screen grab of my screen, and that tracks every time I worked on the poster. So all that movement is my mouse moving around using a screen recording software or a click tracking software. And every big circle means the mouse sat there for a while. And if it really sat there for a while, I was probably typing an email to the client, so it wasn't moving, or I was looking at color swatch books. But essentially, this idea, which is way more technologically advanced than anything I ever do. I would never have an idea like this, but it came out of one of these grids and just made a pencil sketch and was found a piece of software and tested it out and was okay, that might work. So that was something I showed the client. So the first thing, capture every idea that you have. Don't edit, don't worry about it. Either set a time frame or don't. You get to do it to exhaustion, or you could just set a timer. I think that's one of the things that's super cool. If you start to know the steps of a process and you have 2 days to do something, you can map it out and just cheat a whole bunch in the beginning, hopefully, and be well, is an hour really going to be more productive than 40 minutes? Maybe not. So you shoot for an hour, or if you shoot for 40 minutes. And 2, this is a design one, it would change for context, but edit down to the ideas that you can see. It could be edit down to the ideas that are exciting to you or that seem most relevant. But use some framework for editing that initial list down. 3, sketch out what those ideas look like or what those ideas could look like. Image search to fill out your visualization. I think that this is so helpful. When we think about a word, we tend to have a super generic, simple representation of it in our mind. If we have a background with that particular thing, then we have a more sophisticated version of it, but it's still probably fairly generic. Okay, so then sketch simple combinations. I skipped make a bed no diagram, but make a little diagram so you can keep track of it. One of the things that I think is so great about that bed no diagram is at the very least you consider every combination. Even if you don't sketch it, you at least can give it a moment of thought and go well, what? Can I at least kind of see something that could come together with? It's almost what I like about it is I don't think that I'm super creative and think of interesting stuff all the time. And then that thing forces me to jam 2 ideas together and all of a sudden go oh, I hadn't really considered, that maybe my next project should be the Vampire Diaries in 1930s London. But sick, now I've got this awesome idea. Or not. Voila, you're a creative genius.